November 30th, 1937, in a small coastal town called Tyne Wear in England, Elizabeth and Francis Scott celebrated the birth of their brand new child, Ridley Scott. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not about to chronicle Ridley Scott's entire life just for a bit. Or am I? His dive into becoming one of the most influential sci-fi directors began... No, really. I'm not doing this bit. It's too much, it's too long, it's so much information. So in 1979, following the release and subsequent success of Star Wars, Ridley accepted the job of directing Alien. We aren't going to get too much into this. There's really a lot of information here. I really should include this in the video, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Well, maybe not. This is a lot of context and information. It couldn't possibly fit in the intro for this review. Too much. Which is why it's got its own video coming. Let's go! Less than 10 years later, from 1979, Creative Assembly is formed. And for almost 30 years, these guys just focused on sports games, RTS, and turn-based strategy for like decades exclusively. So when Sega and Creative Assembly announced a partnership for a new Alien game, raised a lot of eyebrows. But Creative Assembly went all out to recreate the atmosphere of Ridley Scott's 1979 masterpiece, Alien. So Creative Assembly acquired from Fox 3 terabytes of production material, which at the time, 3 terabytes was a lot. Like, we were, I think it was OG Xbox 360, we were still like in the hundreds of megabytes. You know, games were like just a couple of gigs. You know, this game was probably only like 3 gigs on the Xbox. You know what I'm saying? At the time, 3 terabytes is a lot of information at that time. The 3 terabytes they got contained production material, behind the scenes photos, sound design documentation, video, just so much stuff from the original filming of Ridley Scott's Alien. They also got to meet with Terry Rawlings, who edited Alien, to get even more information regarding the production of Alien. Creative Assembly refused to just create another bad Alien game. They insisted on creating something that was not just a spiritual sequel to Alien, but an actual sequel. Everything they added to the world of Alien Isolation was done so in context of filming in the 70s. When making new props, if it couldn't be made on the set of Alien, it was a no-go. Their vision was so pure, they were able to reunite the original cast of Alien for the first time since the movie released. Alien Isolation is a testament to the lasting impression Ridley Scott has made on the world of sci-fi and horror. I cannot wait to take this dive with you into the horror that is Alien Isolation. So, before we begin, maybe take a moment to smash the subscribe button. This is a very small and new channel, so stuff like that, like the thumbs and the sub, they still do a lot for me at this stage. So if you just do me a favor, help me make this, like, you know, help me make this like a job, a job, you know, as the boomers and Gen X call it. Help me make this my job. Alien Isolation was a game I played at launch, and man, the game hooked me from the start. I grew up with Alien and The Thing constantly playing around my house. In fact, I explicitly remember being traumatized by the Alien and The Thing. I avoided them for most of my childhood, but being scared of them for almost my entire childhood really put them on a pedestal for me.
A pedestal? What's a pedestal?
Especially as I got older. And then I find out that they are some of the most acclaimed horror films of all time. And it just, you know, that kind of thing felt like vindication for my younger self. Now, these two properties would come to shape much of what I love lately. I didn't know it yet, but I just know if it weren't for Rob Bottin's work on The Thing, I might not have a deep love and appreciation for Dead Space. And if it weren't for Alien being the scariest thing I ever fucking seen in my life when I was a kid, I might not have ever wanted to play Alien Isolation. These two games being a huge inflection point in what I want from my games and media. Prior to these titles, I really didn't play horror. Before Dead Space and Alien Isolation, there was no horror for me. I was still a baby. The last horror game I played before Dead Space was Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64. Funny enough, it was the first horror game I ever played. And that shit messed me up as a little kid. You know, before Dead Space and Alien Isolation, you know, I was you know, a gamer bro. Just Call of Duty, and you know, I still played story games, but I played a lot of Call of Duty and a lot of Battlefield at that time. But Dead Space changed everything. So, as you can see, this particular review, it's kind of a big deal for me. I don't talk about Alien as feverishly as I talk about Dead Space, but I love Alien. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not some nerd that has read every comic book or read the actual books or I haven't even seen every movie. But you know what I have seen about 1,000 times? Alien. The rest of it's just secondary. In fact, I like Prometheus far more than I like all of the other Alien films combined. Like, I really like Prometheus, but Alien is like, it's like, damn man, it's just so good. It's so good. And it's one of my big ones for film and gaming. And I'm stoked to be here right now talking about this. Something I want to bring up now before we move forward. I played the PS4 version of this game. Granted, I have the PC version, I have the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the mobile version. Did you know that there's a mobile version? Not a lot of people do. You can front to back, start to finish, the entire game. You can play it on your phone, iOS, Android, that other one, Android. It's everywhere. I prefer playing on my PS5. I really like the PS5. It's a really great console. Granted, I have the Xbox. You can't see, but I have the Xbox Series S over there. Got a PS5 right there. Got a PS3 right there. Got a PS4 over there. Got a freaking Xbox 360 in the other room. I got a Nintendo. I got it all. I could have played this on anything, you know. Just wanted to play on that. PC's right there, by the way. So yeah, the review was on PS4. It's stable. I prefer it to be that way. I don't have to worry about hardware issues or whatever. Anyway, without further ado, my review of Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation is actually an immersive sim. And I don't mean immersive sim-like. I can see how people would characterize it like that. But I think it's an immersive sim. So there's this de facto criteria for a game being an immersive sim. And a game doesn't need to meet all the criteria to be an immersive sim. And just to be clear, I'm using this article I found on Giant Bomb, which goes over the characteristics of an immersive sim, which I will link below. So let's look at the criteria. Immersion in an elaborate and believable game world. Check. Physics and AI are used to create believable behavior in objects and characters which the player can freely interact with, resulting in emerging gameplay. Check, with some exceptions. First-person perspective. Check. Multiple paths or solutions in every situation. No, but there are some exceptions. The world keeps track of the player's actions, which can affect the whole game. Nah, but the Alien does. Open-ended, non-linear game design with emphasis on choice and consequence. That's gonna be a hard no. Full control over the character in every situation. Yes, there are a few exceptions, but I don't think getting knocked unconscious really counts, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. A world with consistent rules the player can interact with. Yup. Narrative that is not always forced on a player. Nope. No fail states beyond player death. Nah. So that's 5 out of 10. I'm going to say it qualifies. Just me, just my professional opinion. I don't care. This is my review. You don't get to say whether or not it's an immersive sim review, but you can, however, leave a comment below and tell me that I'm wrong. Please. Or you can go back in time and create a video reply. If you know, you know. Now, I plan on discussing this all further in a minute. Just to justify my opinion. Not that my opinion needs justifying. I'd just like to tell you why I believe what I believe in this regard. There's a few other things that I would like to touch on before we discuss the immersive sim business, however. The atmosphere of this game is untouchable. It maintains a constant, oppressive vibe throughout the entire game. From the moment Amanda wakes up on the Torrens, all the way till she's floating alone in space. Spoilers. The game, it never lets up on making you feel comfortable. Or not making you feel comfortable. The Xeno is programmed to make sure that you, the player, are never comfortable. Just walking around quietly, trying to get to this area? Not anymore. Have a Xeno. It's on the house. Now, on top of the game being absolutely relentless, to the point of torture, the game world is immaculate. Just superb. Creative Assembly, as I stated before, they used the production material from the Alien 1979 set to make everything. Their design philosophy was, if it couldn't be built on the set then, it's not going in the game now. And it paid off immensely. This is the closest we are ever going to get to experiencing the events of the Nostromo firsthand. Everything in this world is designed to make you believe you are in the world of Alien. As a longtime fan of the movie, I can confidently say, not for 1 second did I not feel completely immersed and just completely desperate for a break from the dread of being on the Sevastopol. Now, on top of how excellent the atmosphere is, you are put in the first person perspective, which I've said it once and I'll say it again, never gets old. Being in the first person puts you directly in the shoes of Amanda. And honestly, this is one of the first AAA horror games to use this perspective. I think it was in development before Amnesia, but Amnesia, they beat it to the gate, and obviously Amnesia is in the first person perspective, and it did come out before. And I think the decision to go first person was a last minute decision, which I think, me personally, just speculation, I think Amnesia played a huge effect in that, making the game first person. Now, being in first person puts you directly in the shoes of Amanda, and nothing, and I mean nothing, beats everyone's first experience with the Xeno. Even if you've never seen Alien, everything leading up to the first encounter has telegraphed to the player that it is deadly and potentially indestructible. And the way it drops down and Ripley cowers underneath the desk communicates to the player that you should be afraid. It is awe-inspiring. First person also means you get to experience the working Joes and their ruthlessness while staring into their glowing red, lifeless eyes. Crawling through tunnels and debris feels just completely claustrophobic and totally uncomfortable. And above other games in the genre, Alien Isolation completely nails the first person view completely. Not that the other ones didn't also do well, but Alien is just good. Don't let me forget about sound design. Oh boy. When you're walking around, you can hear Amanda squeaking on the ground, or you can hear the hard but cushioned silicone footsteps of the synthetics, or the pounding of the Xeno stalking the halls. You can hear gunshots echoing through the background. And one of the absolute standout features is the directional sound. And yeah, a lot of games now have directional sound, but at the time, this was some real groundbreaking stuff. If the Xeno is near you, you need to be able to pinpoint exactly where it is, even if you can't see. If you're hiding, you need to know that it has left the room to the door over there. You need to know that, because you need to know to not run into it. The directional audio even lets you pinpoint it through walls. This is something that that horror games struggle with to this day. In the Resident Evil 2 remake, perfect example. You can hear Mr. X stalking the halls of the police station, Raccoon City Police Department, but it is hard to pinpoint exactly where he is. And Alien Isolation was able to perfect this 10 years before that game. And it would be uncharacteristic of me to not mention Dead Space at every opportunity I get to just gush over Dead Space. The directional audio in the Dead Space remake is some real cutting edge shit, and it absolutely stands on the shoulders of Alien Isolation. So now, let's get back to why I believe Alien Isolation is an immersive sim. So as I stated before, the game absolutely allows you to just immerse yourself into the world. The developers went out of their way to make it hard to not feel immersed in this world that they have created. So, the physics and the AI, and we're going to start with the AI. The Xeno itself is basically a prototype of the intensity director of Dead Space Remake. You see, we're back to Dead Space already. Look at that, it didn't take long, did it? It is made to feel like it's stalking you. It is it's hunting you, and it wants you dead. And that's just how the AI works. Hell, even the working Joes and the humans have their own unique AIs driving them. Humans are intelligent and cunning, and will try to flank and rush you. The working Joes, well, they're stupid by design. But while they are slow and particularly stupid, they are very hard to kill. And if they close that gap, they will deal some serious damage, if not outright kill you. So the game world's physics are kinda... So while you're moving stuff, it can alert hostiles to your location. You knock something over, and people are gonna come. They're gonna come running. But everything feels like it weighs about the same. Like you move it, and it's just like a cup moves in the same way a box would. A soda can moves similarly to a fire extinguisher. You know, stuff like that. Stuff that like a soda can and a fire extinguisher weigh. Like one's heavy, one's not. That's just I don't know the weight of an unladen swallow. You know what I'm saying? So, granted, you're not really meant to interact with these objects outside of avoiding them to avoid detection, but it's noticeable and kind of wonky. Nothing I would really complain about, however, even though I'm doing it right now, I'm just stating the facts on how the physics aren't really up to snuff for the criteria. I'm just explaining why the physics don't work and the AI does. That's it. It's not really a complaint, because I'll still play the shit out of the game. It's a good game. You play. Multiple paths and solutions. So while it's not constant that there are often multiple paths, but generally there's only one solution. In many areas there are several paths, but there's only one solution to all the puzzles. So the solutions are the solutions of the puzzles, period. Some areas have an open floor plan, for instance. Let's take Standing Crystal Ball, for example, the medical deck. You can get to your destination like 3 or 4 ways, and that path is constantly changing because sir, you are being hunted. In comms, you can crawl into the ducts to navigate the huge open room, completely avoiding working Joes and later humans and also Xenos. The world might not log your actions, but the Xeno does to an extent. It learns from you, so if it catches you hiding in the ducts, later it might start checking the ducts for you, or if it catches you in locker, it'll start checking the lockers. My favorite is the flamethrower becomes less effective the more you use it. Early on, a short burst is enough to send the Xeno fleeing, but by the end of it, it will stand firm in the flames for a few moments, meaning now you have to expend more of your precious ammunition to cause it to flee. And if that ain't the tightest shit, I don't know what is. It's close enough to the world learning you, it might be, because the alien's the whole world, you know what I'm saying? The rest of the everyone else is dead. The working Joes don't really care, blah, 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 alien. Throughout the game, there's like 2 or 3 instances where the player loses total control of the character. And it's just to let a story beat play out. For instance, in the beginning, everyone meets in the cockpit of the Torrens to briefly discuss, going over to Sevastopol, and there's a time skip, and then a cutscene starts of Amanda, Taylor, and Samuels gearing up to head over to the Sevastopol, and it does this a few times for cinematic effect. So while there are cutscenes, it gives you about as much autonomy as the intro of Prey in them. So I don't really see it as a huge deal. Now the world maintains consistent rules that even the Xeno and the synthetics play by. You always know what to expect when encountering an enemy. Well, like not really, which is kind of the point. But they're playing by a set of rules. The alien is going to ambush you, and sometimes it's not going to telegraph that it's preparing an ambush, and that's something that you, the player, have to prepare for, because you know the alien's out to get you. So while there are exceptions, I think Alien Isolation fits the bill close enough to be considered an immersive sim. Now, there's some moments when playing where you feel like you're playing a scarier prey sometimes, which I loved. Oh, and also you can find the System Shock code. So if that's not definitive proof that this is an immersive sim, I don't know what is, man. So Alien Isolation is one of the best immersive experiences in the genre, period. Flat out. It's hard. It's so hard to top because it has literal decades of lore and world building behind it. It is so pure, and it is a faithful adaptation of the horror Ridley Scott created in Alien 1979. And from the set dressing to the sound to the way the enemies interact with you, Alien Isolation is just it's honestly it's perfect. If I still gave scores, this game would be a fucking 10. I play so many horror games. God, I play so many, but none are as awesome to come back to as Alien Isolation. I mean, like, none. Like, Dead Space is cool, but like, you hit New Game Plus once and it's like you're a walking tank. There is no New Game Plus in Alien Isolation, and no matter how you start the game, you are vulnerable no matter what. And so what I'm getting at is, like, you might know the story, but because of the Xeno's unique set of AI instructions, no two playthroughs will be alike. Plus, it's a pretty decent immersive sim. And in my opinion, the only thing that can improve this game is, for lack of a better word, ray tracing. Reflections, some better lighting. That's it. No graphical improvements are needed. Just good old-fashioned ray tracing. This game is over 10 years old now, and it still plays better than most of the newer titles out now. And I could leave this section here, just like this, and it would perfectly exemplify my experience. But I'm going to expound on it a little bit, because, I mean, it's kind of what I'm supposed to do. That's why we're here. Fuck my video games. The gameplay's rock solid, dude. The weapons are awesome. The IEDs are awesome. The crafting system it's honestly the weakest part of the game. Movement is silky smooth, and the animations are just buttery. And combat is something to be avoided if possible, and when you do it, it feels so violent. So let's discuss the combat just a little bit further. There's a little loading screen that you might see while you're playing that states Amanda would much rather avoid combat, but she is not afraid to defend herself. And honestly, yeah, man, I feel that. When you are forced to engage in melee combat, she swings her tool, reckless abandon. It feels primal and raw and vulnerable. She does not want to be doing this. For range combat, though, it's way different. She is not competent with any of the ranged weapons. The only weapon she wields with any finesse is the flamethrower, and that's because it's a flamethrower. You know, like when you hold it, point it in a direction, shoot it. There's no finesse to using a flamethrower. Not to besmirch Amanda's name or her mother's name, for that matter. The revolver, it takes considerable time to line up shots, and the shotgun, well, shotguns are pretty much a no-brainer, and especially in this. Get close, and whatever is on the other side of that barrel is probably dead. Considering that the combat feels good, I avoid using ranged weapons for like 90% of my playthrough. For me, it felt like it put me in a vulnerable state, and I'd rather just run or do some AoE damage with a pipe bomb or incapacitate with a stun baton. I didn't want to like draw any. I wanted to draw as little attention to myself, and if I used the pipe bombs, you know, it's way over there, I could run away in this direction. It's a misdirection, an illusion. Navigating the space within the Sevastopol feels incredible. Walking, running, crawling, doesn't matter, feels good. When you crawl into a duct, it slows you down, and if that duct has to get smaller, Ripley drops down on her own and crawls through. And the way she moves, it feels like she's uncomfortable. And you can tell she doesn't like any of it, but she's doing it anyways. Oh, and here's something that I don't discuss often, but is very important to me, and anyone who knows me will tell you. You can see her feet. Not like that, you fucking weirdo. It's just they're visible. So you can like guide them and her through areas that have like some debris or narrow passages. It's just fucking rad. I love feeling that I'm playing a character rather than a floating camera. It's nice, you know. It's just nice to feel like you're playing as a character. More games could learn from that. And the animation for the movement on her feet, it's superb. It looks and feels like she's walking, or crawling, or hell, running. It looks like that. Now let's talk about the crafting. I have some gripes. I am perfectly fine with inventory limits. Perfectly fine. But it just really sucked that some of the ingredients had fewer slots. Like, I should have been able to carry like more ethanol or charge packs or blasting caps. At least one or two more of each. That's it. I'm not asking for like the world. Like, yeah, I know I can slot the material into like the crafting recipe, but it was still just so annoying not being able to carry just one or two more of those items. That's it. So the crafting itself happens in real time, which is fine, but that menu is the same as selecting a weapon. So if you're on the run and you want to say equip a Molotov instead of the pistol you have in hand, well, you better stop and manually pick that. There's a slider that all the guns are on for like hot picking, you know, hot swapping, but grenades are not on that. So all your grenades have to be manually selected. Now on PC, I'm not sure if this is an issue, but on PS4, it is most certainly an issue. I think you can cycle the entire weapon wheel with the mouse wheel on PC, but anyway, the gameplay is immaculate and perfectly suits the game completely. Outside of the crafting, there's no real issues. Movement and combat are superb. This is just another dub for Alien Isolation for sure. So Alien Isolation occurs about 15 years after Alien and 42 years before the events of Aliens. We follow the journey of Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda, as she is desperately trying to find her mother. She took up a job near the sector that the Nostromo was last sighted, and Weyland-Yutani got word that a Seegson vessel, the Sevastopol, has found the black box of the Nostromo. So Amanda joins the team on their mission to retrieve it, hoping that there is some sign of her mother there. Well, all hell breaks loose. You manage to board the Sevastopol and learn there's a creature on board. It stalks you relentlessly as you both piece together what happened here and what happened to the Nostromo. You learn the Xeno came on board from another vessel, the Anisadora, where one of the crewmates had just encountered a facehugger from LV-426, where Ellen and crew of the Nostromo first found the derelict ships. And, they began their encounter with the Xenomorph there too. It's crazy. It's all cyclical. Well, they managed to get that crew member on board, bypassing quarantine, and the crew member brought the Xeno on board. And, Xeno does what a Xeno does. What are you gonna do, So, Ripley manages to eject herself and the Xeno into the vacuum of space, where it's suggested that it falls to its death in the orbit of the planet. So you get back to the Sevastopol, and you gotta find out why the synths are now running amok in public spaces, no less. Well, as it turns out, Weyland-Yutani purchased the Sevastopol 3 days before Ripley and crew set out. Weyland-Yutani discovered that Seegson managed to get their hands on the Nostromo black box, and they knew they would have to purge the entire crew, much as they did with Ash from Alien. So you find Samuels, and he's like, bro, I gotta interface with Apollo, the station's AI system, to see what's going on. And so he dies doing that and tells us, hey, go see Apollo. They'll explain some shit, but you gotta get there, man. You gotta get there first. Perfect representation of Samuels. Perfect. I nailed it. So you get to Apollo, and Apollo's all like, yeah, man, Weyland-Yutani purchased us. Spoiler alert, I pretty much have to protect the organism at all costs. Crew expendable and all that, you feel me? And then she's like, oh man, my tummy hurts, something's going on in the reactor. So you go off again, and then boom, the reactor is infested with Xeno. So you turn on the reactor in hopes you can kill them all, and you don't. And now there are a bunch of Xeno cruising around the Sevastopol. But hey, at least you killed the queen, maybe. I mean, that was her screaming when we started the reactors, right? So eventually, you get back in contact with the Taurans, so you can get the fuck out of the station before it's pulled into the gravitational, field of the planet. And you do. You narrowly escape the Xeno that are stalking you, and you get on board the Taurans, and you call out to your captain, only to be greeted by a Xeno. This bit here is wild speculation, and I'm probably wrong, but you get on board, and the Xeno's there, and I firmly believe that this was the first one. The one that you spaced, the one you've been fighting for like most of the game. Why do I believe that? Any other Xeno might have just gone right for the kill. It had many opportunities to do so, but this one wanted to relish in her victory. I can't say I blame her, Fucking Amanda put that bitch to the ringer. Anyway, Ripley spaces her again, and herself this time. But this time there's no help for help. Fade to black. Ha! Just kidding. Gotcha, bitch. Some lights, they lights turn on and shine on Ripley's face, and boom, now we fade to black. Bam. So yeah, this is like a massive TLDR, but the story itself it's so good. It's great even, and it fits perfectly with the motivations of Amanda and it also fits well into the world of Alien, and it's a great addition to the series. Easily up there with its counterpart, Alien 1979. So, on top of everything else, I'm looking up because, like, you know, I'm thinking about my script and how it's like up there. Above all else, this is easily one of the best horror games ever made. You are constantly on edge that the Xeno could drop on you at any moment, and it could. And even when you're not actively being stalked by the Xeno, they still feel off. The paranoia is always there, even before your first encounter with it. Most of the horror comes from just being stalked by the Xeno. The rest of it is just all atmosphere and set dressing, baby. Walking to a small reception area and seeing some poor guy with a magazine shoved down his throat, much in the same way Ash was trying to do Ellen when she had sussed him out for being a synth. Or taking a corner in an air duct and there's a corpse there just full of holes from a Xeno. A place that up till a moment ago you may have considered a safe place to be, and have just now realized nowhere is safe. You'll be hiding in a locker and thinking everything is fine, and you check your motion sensor, it beeps, and suddenly the Xeno drops down on the roof and you're immediately zero. The tool you need to detect it betrayed you and alerted the Xeno to your presence and location. You are never safe. Danger is always imminent. You could be walking down a hall and just be downright unlucky. It's hiding in a duct that you just happen to walk on her, and it drags you into an inky oblivion only to meet your death. Now, the more you encounter it, the smarter it gets, but like, not really. It also gets more malicious, but also not really. But the one thing it really does is it wants you dead, and it's relentless in trying to kill you. There's even an achievement. There's an achievement you can get for being killed by it 100 times in a single playthrough. You kidding? They knew it was relentless. Now, the Xeno is relentless, but it is not relentless to the point of annoyance, however. But just never enough to like let you feel safe or comfortable. You can almost always hear it, and then the ducks are like just wandering the halls, and it makes sure that you know it's near, and it is absolutely terrifying. Alien Isolation does horror right. While everything is out to kill you, nothing is as threatening as the Xeno. It is not only the perfect organism, but the perfect stalker. I do, however, hear the monster from Amnesia, the Bunker, is far more ruthless, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out. Oh hey, what's this? A new segment? The viewers want to know. I don't know if that's where the wordings are going to be. Okay, so one of my viewers, while playing, asked me pretty much what the gravitational strength of the Sevastopol would be. So I went on a hunt for the answer, and I thought this was a pretty good answer. I found it on Reddit. I asked personally, and they said that I could use their answer with no attribution, so I'm not going to link them because I don't want any of you weirdos going on Reddit to find this poor guy. So here's what he said. You can read it here.
Low to microgravity, I would guess. The objects from explosions, structural failure moving immediately, its velocity, trajectory, motion through space would likely be more influenced by the gas giant. Of course, initial inertia, and then either adjusting course to the gas giant or slowing, and possibly over time being influenced by the system's central star. Tiny objects, dust and shreds of paper might not escape the Sevastopol. But the station itself is in an unstable orbit after the tremendous amount of damage done to it, so would be trailing debris as T descends to its fate.
So yeah, that's the viewers want to know. If you watch the stream and you want to know something about the game, and I don't know offhand, and you want it featured in the review, you know, ask, and maybe your question will be featured. It's a cool thing, right? So if I still did scoring, I will be honest, Alien Isolation is a fucking dime. The atmosphere is stupendous. And it's been a few minutes since I mentioned this. But Creative Assembly acquired 3 terabytes of production material from the original set of Alien from Fox. And I'm sure there's tons of cut content. But they worked so hard to maintain the atmosphere and look and the feel of that damn movie. The gameplay is just rock solid. Crafting can use some work, but it's still good. The story is just honestly something I'm glad I have committed to memory. It is my second favorite Alien story, and while I'd like to see an Alien Isolation 2, I'm just happy we have this one in the first place. Creative Assembly really dialed all the knobs to 11 to make sure that the Xeno is just as terrifying as it was in the movie. And they really deserve a standing ovation for that. There has never been a more perfect adaptation of a film source material. Creative Assembly made one of the greatest horror games ever made, and I doubt it will be knocked off its pedestal anytime soon. So, I'm gonna do this bit, so just just humor me. And I gotta, it's kind of part of the whole deal. So, should you buy Alien Isolation? Yup, multiple times in fact. Buy it as many times as you can. Because there's many ports. There's literally no excuse as to why you do not own a copy of Alien Isolation. You can play this on Xbox 360, PS3, on Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PS4, PS5, PC, Switch, iOS and Android. Like everything. There's no reason no one can't play this game. Period. And outside of money, granted, there's no reason you can't play this today. And luckily, it's generally just $10 across the board almost. And the full collection with all the DLC, it's like $12. Even for mobile. Though, Nintendo and all their benevolent wisdom has it listed for $20 on the Switch right now, which is really no fucking surprise, because it's fucking Nintendo. So as I said in the beginning of this, I played this on PS4. Technically PS5, but that's just technicality. I played the PS4 version, but I experienced absolutely no issues in my experience. A totally solid playing experience. Absolutely fantastic. Go out and buy this game today. I mean, if you have to, granted, there are other means of procurement. I like the game, so I'm not gonna hint at where to find it. But if you watch other videos, you know where. But you should definitely buy this one. They poured their heart out into this game. and it shows. It really does. Alien Isolation. If I did scoring, it'd be a 10 out of 10. So, here we are again, at the end of the video. I'm growing rather fond of these moments I share with you, and I hope you are too. And since you're here, well, why don't you subscribe if you haven't? Maybe leave a comment down below or hit one of the thumbs. Either of the thumbs, I swear. Either of the thumbs are fine. They both work. They both do the job. I also have all of my links down below in the description. Twitch, Patreon, you know, YouTuber shit. Anyway, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Twitch, and it's kind of where the review happens. At the time of writing this, I was on the last few chapters of Dead Space 3, and here in the script, I'm looking at it right there. I was praying to some deity that I can put it out sooner than later, and luckily, it's out already. Which is, you know, in hindsight, maybe should have fixed that. But I think it's a nice little snapshot into how I was feeling at the time. I'm also working on my first movie review, which is for Alien 1979. But you already knew that. We talked about that way back there. Way back there. After this video here drops, I'll probably be playing Gran Turismo 7 on stream for a few weeks. But after that, you can expect, you know, the Alien Isolation, the Alien 1979 review, which is coming, and immediately following that, after about 2 weeks, I'll be starting Resident Evil 4 remake. Amnesia should be coming out at the same time as I'm starting that. The review for Amnesia Dark Descent. Surprise, I got one of that. I got one of that following immediately after this. As at the time of filming, which is like Tuesday of some week, I just finished playing it literally the day before. So it's gonna be Gran Turismo week. If y'all interested in that kind of stuff. Not that if you're watching this in the future, like, none of this means anything to you, and I have no idea what's happening in the future. But there's probably Gran Turismo involved. But I got the whole year planned out for releases, so, you know, who knows? Who knows when you're seeing this video? Maybe some alien, like, is watching this video trying to, like, figure out what happened to the humans, and it was the cats. I gave them thumbs. They didn't need us anymore. That's what happened. Anyway, that's it. That's the review. It's over. That was it. Slosh out.